Hey everybody, Max Monster, back with Marvel Heroes. I'm back with Hawkeye. And you had a quality of life pass just go through with 1.47. And I haven't really noticed too much of a change. I'm still using his Longbow build with a little bit of adjustments because we had some points free up. I can do some stuff a little bit different. Um, for the most part, going over the skills will cover most of the quality of life pass, except for maybe the melee skills, because supposedly those have been made more viable. I doubt it. He's so squishy. I wouldn't send him into melee under his current iteration ever. This is me. Um, Maybe it could work in a raid or something because somebody else is sitting there targeting and taunting and everything like that, but I don't see it. That's just me. So for the Longbow build, with the freed up points, we're going to do 20 points into Wave of Arrows. And that's going to give us a new skill to hit with trash packs. And we're going to do 20 points into 3-arrow burst. And that'll give us a skill to use against single targets. Now 3-arrow burst has been changed from boss damage bonus to critical hit chance bonus. So it's got a higher chance to crit, which is pretty nice. It's going to crit quite often. Now, also on this, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a 2% chance to activate a trick quiver effect when an arrow hits an enemy. What that means is there's a chance to fire one of the trick arrows in the arsenal. So that's a 2% chance per hit, so every shot there should be a 6% chance. It really doesn't work that way. It's still a 2% chance each hit. So you could have a chance to fire an electric arrow, a chance to fire an explosive arrow, if you have 1 point at least in them. I'm going to go over that a little bit more, but each hit could fire, say, an explosive arrow if you get lucky on those. 2% chance is not a big chance at all. It's pretty minuscule. They could make that 20% chance and the DPS would not be serious increase. Personally, I think that's very undertuned. But we're going to do 20 points into 3-arrow burst. Then we're going to do 20 points into World's Greatest Archer. So this has been retuned. It's a toggle. We're not going to use the toggle, but even if I used the skills of the toggle effect, I still wouldn't use the toggle. It says mutually exclusive with combat training, and that only means the toggle. It does not mean the passive effects, just so you know. So we're going to put 20 points into it, and we're going to get damage rating to range powers, critical hit, and brutal strike rating chance, and a 75% chance that projectiles will pierce, which is awesome for us. And then when you critically hit or brutally strike, you'll gain physical damage twice per second, restore 8 spirit, and when you and your allies gain accuracy, increasing your critical hit rating and critical hit damage rating. So it's working a lot like Black Widow right there. We're going to do 20 points into combat training, and that's going to give us dodge rating, defense rating, projectile chance, evade, and regenerate health per second for 5 seconds when you use a med kit. So that's going to give us some extra regeneration. We're going to put 1 point into fleet of foot. That's going to be your I want to run real fast somewhere skill. And I'm going to put 1 point into Flash Bomb. This is going to give your next skill that you use 50% extra bonus damage. And we're going to use that to our advantage. Also, after you use that skill, you negate 21% damage for 4 seconds. So it's kind of useful there too. Going to do 20 points into Shrieking Arrow. This taunts everything on, well, just about on the screen if you go with the Dr. Octopus medallion. And keeps them taunted for 9 seconds, and then it blows up. So we're going to tie that in with Nerve Gas Arrow, which will do 30,000 damage a second to everything on the screen with Dr. Octopus's medallion for 10 seconds. So that's close enough of a tie-in. Basically every 9 seconds or so you want to fire off one of each, and that'll keep everything taunted. and everything doing damage. And then we're going to put 20 points into Star Trek Claymore, but before you dump the rest of your points into Star Trek Claymore, you want to be sure that you put a point into, you should have a point into Electric Arrow already, I believe, but if not, you put a point there. You put a point into Explosive Arrow, put a point into Freeze Arrow, and the rest of your points into Star Trek Claymore turret, and that should be all your points. If you're missing any points, miss them in combat training. If you're not going to be able to 20 point everything, don't 20 point combat training. So that's to build Longbow. And how I set it up, on the left arrow I got 3-round burst, on the right arrow I got a right button, I got acrobatic roll, then I got shrieking arrow, nerve gas arrow, wave of arrows. Then I got it set up so I can flash bomb and then fire off Stark Tech Claymore turret. So that way the Stark Tech Claymore turret gets 50% extra damage, which is very nice. Oh, you should actually have some extra points after that. I put them in twin pims. That's what I'm doing with my extra points. And then I put twin pims on there. That's where my extra points go. Sorry. Forgot about twin pims. Usually I don't need them because I'm using a 3-to-1 core, 3,000 hit points, 100 spirit on medkit use, and I got River of the Soul, plus World's Greatest Archer, so you should be critting quite a lot. And you should be getting a lot of spirit per second in. Shouldn't be that big of an issue for spirit, but if it is, you got twin pims to bring you back up real quick on some targets. So going over gear, I got an advanced Crimson Crystal of Sideric. That's for physical damage. He's all physical. 2% chance to come invulnerable, 1500 health. I suggest staying with health. He's very squishy. They've done nothing for his defenses, so he's squishy. Darkhold Scroll. Why would I use that? Because we're using a taunting arrow. If everything on the screen is going to be taunted, we might as well gain 918 damage rating versus targets with enemies with taunt status. Dr. Octopus Cosmic Medallion. Unfortunately, this is only 17% power radius, but it's big enough. Plus, most skills are area skills, so they'll gain 327 critical hit rating, and then it's got 214 damage rating. This one's not so good, but it's good enough. And Nimrod, that'll give me 3.2 spirit when I hit, so that's more spirit. 291 damage rating versus range targets and 6.3% attack speed. A Danger AI chip physical, seeing how he's all physical, we'll get that 500 physical damage rating and some extra defenses, seeing how he's a bit squishy. He's got Relics of Lemuria. Probably not the best, something that can beef up his damage would be better. I got a River of the Soul and a ranged Uru. That will help his spirit costs and spirit recovery as well. That's 9 spirit right there. Add in, you should crit every second. That should give you 17 spirit a second anyways. That should help greatly on your spirit costs. I would go with the Savage Axe of the Ares. It's got physical damage rating and crit. However, you could go with a Gugner and beef up the crit even more with the crit damage rating. This one beefs up his Brutal Strike. I feel his crit gets high enough naturally, so through gearing and through his passives, the Brutal Strike buff is pretty nice. Cosmic Ring with critical hit chance, Brutal Strike chance, defense rating, and damage to ranged powers. I got a Herbie that I'm leveling on the Cosmic side, but this has got +3 strength, so that really boosts him up pretty good. I got Insignia of Hawkeye, so every time I hit with the power I gain more critical hit rating, so you can see I'm really beefy on crit. I mean, without the buffs, I'm at 37%. With the buffs, I think I'm hitting 43, 46%. Old Man Hawkeye Logan, Hawkeye Old Man Logan costume. He's got health on the core, or health on the costume, and a 3-to-1 core with health on it as well. So that's putting me at 20,000 hit points. Seeing how he's so squishy, I like a little extra cushion, especially when soloing. I could swap that out to, you know, a critical core for raids and stuff, where I'm not having to worry so much about being the one that has to tank and everything. And then I can swap out my build for a more DPS oriented instead of a raid or solo oriented build. Although this would raid pretty good, because you could fire off 3-arrow burst to your heart's desire, put a couple dots up nerve arrow gas, taunt things away from other people. Trick shot bow, 800 damage rating, 500 crit rating, minus spirit costs, chance to freeze the target, 240 physical damage rating, brutal strike chance, brutal strike damage, +6 to 3-arrow burst, +6 to Hawkeye's trick arrow powers, and +5 to nerve gas arrow. So that's a pretty good one. Reserve quiver. That one has 2100 defense, which we need, 883 damage rating as well. So that's pretty awesome. 43 spirit, -5% spirit cost to archery powers, 1400 health, +4 ranks to wave of arrows, +6 to all Hawkeye's archery powers. So that's pretty good. I'm using Hulkbuster arrows. I changed it up a little bit. 1300 defense, 1693 critical damage rating. The ranged attacks deal more damage the closer you are to the target, up to 22% minimal range. 1584 health. You gain a brutal strike. When you land a brutal strike with a physical power, gain 185 crit hit for 8 seconds. That stacks 3 times. +2 to Hawkeye's archery powers, +4 to Hawkeye's trick arrow powers. The Ronin Ninja Boots. This is a little bit more geared towards the melee side, but it's got 1500 defense, 363 physical damage rating, 302 crit rating, 1200 health, 33% chance to cause your target to bleed for 32,000 damage over 5 seconds when you hit. And you also gain 89 damage rating versus bleeding targets for 10 seconds. Can stack up to 3 times. When you get 3 stacks, you get +1 fighting and +1 to all skills. So that's pretty good. +2 to all Hawkeye's combat skills. And then Hawkeye's Shades, we got 1500 defense, 1300 health, 290 crit hit chance, 850 critical damage, 340 physical damage, 5% chance when you're attacked to call in another Hawkeye, Kate Bishop or Clinton Barton, to fight for you for 30 seconds. That's pretty cool when it happens. +2 ranks to all powers, +3 ranks to World's Greatest Archer, +5 to Stark Tech Claymore Turret. So the kit's pretty good. Beefs him up. His time to kill is not as good as Black Widow's was. And she's just insane. They definitely worked on her more than they worked on him. Not sure why that is, but we'll do a Cosmic Dr. Octopus. See, the arrow pierce is really nice with this. So you got your choice wave of arrows, roughly around burst with how many. It depends on how many guys are sitting out in front of you. So if I don't know how many enemies are coming, I'm firing off the taunt arrow right away. You just don't want to try to tank. I think I hit the guy. So by now you're seeing all these different arrows proc off of me. That's the trick shot quiver. So I took the extra points. Why is it one guy always wanders in? And I put a point into electric arrow if it wasn't already there. See what I mean? One guy. 1 point in explosive arrow and 1 point in freeze arrow. And so the trick shot quiver can proc any one of these arrows as well as nerve gas arrows. That's something you can opt to do if you want. The points just come out of twin pims. As you can see, I don't really use them. And then that way any one of these 4 arrows can shoot. They don't do as much damage, but the odds of those proccing anyways is kind of low, so it's not like you're counting on that kind of damage to happen anyways. The main thing is to remember firing taunt arrows to keep him taunted. I do it like every 3 seconds, and then once I stop seeing green smoke, I'll fire another nerve gas arrow. And he's pretty easy. Not quite as cheesy as Black Widow, but he's still easy. Where did that guy come from? So that's the Longbow build. That's all the tricks I got with him. You don't have to 1-point the extra trick arrows. They, if it procs, it just picks one at random anyways. It's not like you're going to get all 3 or 4 to proc at once. But it does make extra damage happen because you already have nerve gas arrow out and it won't stack. So it does make a proc for a chance to have freeze arrow come out instead of nerve gas, or explosive arrow to come out instead of nerve gas. You know, you get the idea, or electric arrow, and it gives extra damage. So that's it. That's Longbow. Hope it helps. Hope you guys enjoy it, and talk to everybody real soon.